Hey everybody, reading from again, first book of Maccabees, beginning at chapter 4, beginning at 36. Judas and his brothers said, "Now that our enemies have been crushed, let us go to purify the sanctuary and rededicate it." So the whole army assembled and went up to Mount Zion. Early in the morning, on the 25th day of the 9th month, that is the month of Chislev, in the year 148, they arose and offered sacrifice, offering according to the law of the new altar of burnt offerings that they had made. On the anniversary of the day on which the Gentiles had defied it, on that very day it was reconsecrated with songs, harps, flutes, and cymbals. All the people prostrated themselves and adored and praised heaven, who had given them success. For 8 days they celebrated the dedication of the altar and joyfully offered burnt offerings and sacrifices of deliverance and praise. They ornamented the facade of the temple with gold crowns and shields. They repaired the gates and priest chambers and furnished them with doors. There was great joy among the people now that the disgrace of the Gentiles was removed. Then Judas and his brothers and the entire congregation of Israel decreed that the days of the dedication of the altar should be observed with joy and gladness on the anniversary every year for 8 days from the 25th day of the month of Chislev. So we know that Christmas is coming close and closer, but a little more than a month away, and also we're probably aware of that Hanukkah, sort of close to that for the Jews as we celebrate Christmas. And this is what we just read here, called the Feast of Dedication, and actually it is what they celebrate as Hanukkah, because Hanukkah itself means dedication. All right? And so let's get a little look at the history of it. The first 4 chapters of the first book of Maccabees recount the story of the Greek oppression of the Jewish people under Antiochus Epiphanes IV, and the rebellion led by Mattathias and his sons. After Matthias' death, his son Judah continued the revolt and eventually crushed their enemies, turning their attention to the defiled temple and altar. Judah Maccabeus and his men repaired the sanctuary and the interior of the temple and purified the courts. Then on the 25th day of Kislev, they offered sacrifices on the newly dedicated altar. Jewish tradition says that when they searched for oil to light the menorah, they found only enough to burn for 1 day. It would take 8 days to prepare more oil. They lit the menorah anyway, and to their amazement, the light burned for 8 days until the new oil was ready. Whether or not the legend of this oil is true has become a great part of the Hanukkah story. It's called the Festival of Lights. So perhaps you've gone by Jewish homes and see the menorah with the candles. Now you know why. Because oil for 1 day, and it kept burning brightly. For 8 days, enough oil for that. So that's the significance of that. Well, again, as I mentioned the other day, that we too have a firm conviction for our faith, that we be dedicated, no matter what the crowd may do, we be dedicated to following Christ. God bless you.